What's up, everybody? This is going to be a talk about the Venus retrograde coming up, as well as the nodes shifting into Aries and Libra. So these energies are going to be very transformative, a lot of very unexpected things coming up, a lot of fated and karmic aspects that are here to not only help us grow, but sort of test us, test our temptations to our values, morals, ethics, and where we really want to go in life. Like we've been building something up for like at least the last year, right? And as we've been building this up, we're at this sort of crossroads point where the universe is kind of saying, how bad do you really want it? And what is it that you really want? When Venus is retrograde, our desires, our things that we want, things that we think that we want that maybe we didn't, anything that's buried under the surface as far as our feelings, as far as things that we've been procrastinating with about finances, about our relationship with money, our relationship with abundance in and of itself. And abundance can mean like how you connect in relationships. All right, Venus, of course, is all about relationships. And the sign of Leo, Leo represents the contrast or the interconnectivity as well, between the head and the heart, right? So where is there a disconnect, or maybe where is there some codependency or some dysfunctional natures within the head and the heart, right? And that you're in your head when things are confusing, when you're like the energy is so powerful right now that the heart is really just pushing and purging all this stuff up. So if you're not in your heart, things are going to feel sluggish. Things are going to feel slow, right? Or that's just indicating that something needs to shift within you or without or both. But you can bet your bottom dollar that some changes are going to come in to give you an opportunity to see which direction you want to go. All right. Now, from right now until July 23rd, when the nodes shift into Aries and Libra, you know, we're finishing up an 18-month cycle of Taurus and Scorpio, which are fixed signs. And the North node is in a Venus ruled sign. The South node is in a Mars ruled sign, right? So that energy is going to completely flip, and it's going to go from a fixed energy to a cardinal energy. So whatever fixed stuff is going on, especially with Uranus and Jupiter, that's in Taurus as well. This is a lot of our really stubborn habits, control dynamics, attachments, especially huge on attachments. This is where, hopefully you've been doing the work for a while. A lot of people are going to just get cracked wide open, especially if you've been seeing the Schumann's resonance lately, because it's peaking at like 190. Like humanity's never seen that before. This is deep, intense, cosmic, radiative energy that's cracking open our DNA on a level. And I believe that it's bringing, past life opportunities, but also past life lessons. Everything is an opportunity and a lesson right now. Okay. So, because when we go into it, we're a new version of us. So as we step into these situations that might remind us of old situations, or a past life thing would be like, oh, like, you meet someone and you just kind of have that instant recognition. Oh, I know you. Like, I feel you. Like, I can feel that, like you remind me of something within myself, but that something within the self has been suppressed, has been, like not in our conscious awareness. So it's going to take, and it's going to take months, right, for this energy to come out and to percolate. So if you find yourself getting triggered, I'll tell you right now, like the energy is not going to slow down. So whatever is being triggered, it's like you are going to face it whether you like it or not. And this is where a lot of people are going to start to have issues with mental illness, with not knowing what reality is, with, especially if you're around a lot of manipulative energy, or if you don't really have a good, tight, core group of people, things are going to feel really out of place, really strange, really weird. So, it's really important to reach out to people. Like, do not isolate yourself in this time. Not only that, though, remember we have, Pluto square the nodes, until about September, October timeframe. And that square is going to be exact right around the time that that Venus goes retrograde. So right now in the shadow period started last week, probably like June 16th, 17th ish. Okay. So this is the most intense point because this is where all these new stories are starting. You can feel the new timelines coming in. There's been a lot of exhaustion, a lot of ascension symptoms, because now our DNA is getting infused with, all right, time to go on this new mission, time to start this new chapter. Not only a new chapter, it's like a whole new life, really. Everybody I know, I mean, myself included, I've got all these new things, new people, new opportunities, new things coming in that are opening up my heart and opening up, like challenging me, like, like how am I going to approach this next step? Or, if there's any triggering going on, what is it within me that is triggering, this experience? And this is where and how we take responsibility of our own life and of ourselves by looking within and say, what am I doing to contribute to this energetic interaction? Things should be, on the flip side of that, things can be exhilarating and amazing and beautiful when you are in your heart and when you're trusting your heart and you're allowing these things to flow like naturally and, beautifully. But this ending feeling, like all these endings that are happening right now, which is essentially the shedding process, right? The snake shedding its skin. That part is going to be fundamentally complete right around the third week of July when Venus goes retrograde. And now we're in the middle of a Venus retrograde, and the Pluto square will be exact right where we had the solar eclipse just a few months ago at 29 degrees of Aries and 29 degrees of Libra. Okay. That is going to be a massive, massive activation point. And of course, this summer solstice, I'm actually recording this today on the summer solstice. This is the beginning of a 3-month period of time. This summer, we are going to go through the deepest opportunities, the deepest lessons, the deepest tests of our character, of who we are, of what we really want our future, our life to look like, that we will ever go through in our lives, at least up until this point. And this is where the universe is like saying, all right, do you really want it? Do you really want to step up? And do you really want to create this new world? And look, it's going to be really important not to get caught up in all the bullshit that's going on out there in the world, because all that distraction is it's speeding up the amount. Like we're in sensory, overwhelm. There is too much input from the external world. So you have to go within, but in order to go within, you have to be willing to feel all this shit that's coming up. All right. So I highly encourage you, okay, especially with Jupiter and Taurus, it's the physical body. It's our morals and ethics and values. This is us deciding in a present visceral level who we want to be, what we feel like we deserve, and how we're going to get it. So every step along the way, with relationships, with jobs, with money, not only money, but with abundance, networking, like, connecting with people and creating abundance that way. That's going to become so much more important. It already is really important, but that's going to become even more and more important as, of course, like the US dollar is crashing, guys. Like it's inevitable. It's already here. So how are we the people going to create a situation that we don't have to depend on a centralized source to take care of us? We have to learn how to take care of ourselves. And that comes through the different powers and opportunities and, gifts and resources that we have, by connecting to each other, by utilizing each other's resources, by collaborating and, bringing health and healing and, the good natured things to people. We need to go back to living like the Native Americans and like the natives, right? And in certain ways, of course, we're integrating technology and doing all this, new Aquarian age stuff. But this is all going to come through divine downloads. And there's a lot of divine intervention at play here. But just be careful. I always say, like, especially during Venus retrograde, very, very important. Like, say someone comes in, like, don't over idealize the situation, or don't try to drop everything that you're already doing and like jump into anything without thinking of everything else that you got going on, right? Whatever emotions coming up. Maybe you've been feeling lonely. Maybe you've been feeling tired. Maybe you've been feeling like you just can't seem to get ahead financially. Everybody kind of feels like that right now because of inflation, right? Or maybe you suddenly meet these new people and they make you feel a certain way, but you got to stay centered, because a part of that could be like escapism. You know what I mean? And with all the shit going on in the world, it's like everybody to a certain extent wants to escape a little bit. We're all operating at a threshold, and the threshold just keeps pushing and pushing and pushing, which is why if you're in a place of overwhelm or if you're in a place of confusion, you don't know what to do, take a step back, because chances are if you're just sitting in it, you're not able to make a real decision anyways, right? So take a step back, take some deep breaths, maybe even go do like, a ceremony, go do a sound bath, go get a massage, go do something to clear yourself and to clear your mind. Once your mind is clear, once you can chill out a little bit and you come back to it, say, okay, what's step number one, right? And this makes me feel this way. And then what is the practical application of all these things, right? Usually I'd say anybody, like, especially with relationships, if you meet someone during a Venus retrograde, be patient with it. Don't jump into it too much, because it could, because once Venus goes direct, then different feelings, different things are going to emerge, right? And you don't want to be too impulsive at this time. You want to be centered and in alignment with your heart. As long as you have coherence between your heart and your mind, you could have the biggest blessings in the world coming in that could completely change your life for the better. And I see that happening in my life. But I will say too, throughout the entire month of July and half of the month of August, we have, a double yod going on here. And in fact, one of these yods is going from, it's quincunxing Pluto to Venus, and it's at Venus as it slows down and stops, because Pluto's at 29, Venus is going to go to 28, and then of course Neptune is at 27, and it's sitting there. That ain't going anywhere for a while. So these two major planets, with the nodes at 29 degrees now too, towards the end of July into August, the last week of July into the first week of August is going to feel like we're going through the birthing canal. And then once that eclipse point sort of settles in with all that new energy, now the energy is going to flip. So now, instead of letting go and saying goodbye and shedding and crying and purging, now it's like we're going to feel this insane rush of like, I need to get this done. I need to move forward. I need to go. I need to make this happen. And it's also important not to rush that either. We have to temperance. Temperance is so important for this summer. And also too, we got I think 8 planets, if you include Chiron, going retrograde this summer. Because once Venus goes direct, then Jupiter is going to go retrograde, and we also have Mars going retrograde in Virgo coming up here in August. So massive amount of past life lessons, past life gifts, past life tests. We are integrating all of our past lives in this lifetime right here. Okay, that's why this shit is so intense, because there's certain fragmented parts of our souls, and many of us, they're old souls, right? We have a lot of these pieces that, it's not going to really be making a whole lot of sense. It could be very disorienting. All right. As we're coming into this new version of ourselves, going through that birthing canal, we don't know who we are. And when we're in that place of not knowing who we are, we have to, that's teaching us faith. But Pluto is that death and rebirth fire, right? Fire becoming the phoenix. And we're also starting a new 18-month cycle. And this is the second 18-month cycle in the beginning of two 20-year cycles, from the Pluto-Saturn conjunction and from the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction. Okay, so we are all, as a humanity, as a collective, birthing this new life, this new experience. And as such, as we're shifting and changing, we're having opportunities to meet new people, to connect in new ways, as we connect with ourselves in new ways. Okay, so whatever it is, be very clear with yourself in your heart and honest with yourself about what you want in relationships, what you want in a business. Because, right, this karma, Saturn is also retrograde now in Pisces. Karma is instantaneous. And it's, showing us like what our thoughts are really, sharing with us. So the people that are not coherent between their thoughts and their emotions, or like what they say they want, and what their soul wants, right? There's a lot of trauma there. It's going to look wacky, man. Because it's going to be like they're two different people at the same time. They're saying they want to do this and they want to do that, but then their actions are showing the exact opposite. It's going to be so clear as day, but they're not going to see it until they have they go get to that rock bottom point and they get their asses woken up. So we're going to see a lot of people waking up. But imagine waking up in a fucking hurricane, in a storm. Be like, where the fuck am I? How did I get here? Right? And now you're in this storm, and suddenly you don't know who to trust. You like nobody's around, even the people that are around, you don't know them. It's going to be very, very disorienting. So this summer is going to be a time to seek detoxification, to seek, counseling or like emotional support. Be around people that want to see the best for you, right? If you're in a relationship that's dysfunctional, like have the courage to have the difficult conversations. Have the courage to be honest with yourself about what you feel you deserve. Have the courage to get up off your ass and like, if you're always feeling like, oh, I don't like my body, like this is a lot about our, body stuff too. Like, well, if you don't like your body, what are you doing about it? Okay. Like, oh, but I'm too tired. Okay. Well, find a way. Like, is the exhaustion like for me personally, I tend to be the opposite of most people, right? So if I'm exhausted or I'm tired, it's because I'm doing too much. I'm going too hard. So I got to take a step back. I'm not really lazy per se. I just go, 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 go until I crash, which is not healthy either. All right. So, and that's something that I'm working on very, very much so, about letting myself chill a little bit, not have to go ham and crazy on, my discipline and, putting things into structure, because that's also a bit of a control dynamic. So discipline is important, but discipline applied in the highest vibrational context. And this is where we're learning the little nuances between where are we creating discipline in self-sabotaging patterns, and where are we creating discipline from our wounded child, or where are we creating discipline from our grown-ass adult, that's our soul, that should be leading the show. Now, some people out there, they just automatically get it, and good for you. I am so happy for you. I've had to learn it the hard way, and I'm sure, light workers and empaths and starseeds, you all have had to learn a lot of this the hard way too. All right. So these are the lessons that we're going, and these lessons are going to be more intense than we've ever seen. All right. 40 days and 40 nights of Venus retrograde in Leo is clearing out any attachments, any addictions, or it's at least showing us like this could also, like, you have a choice. Like, you can go either direction. You could either go all full-fledged in your addiction and like, OD or something like that, right? Or get it so bad, where the temptation sucks you in and now you can't get out. Like, this is how serious this is. So, like, the universe is showing us, like, it's the long-term goal. It's the big picture that we're looking at for the rest of our lives, because we're here to create heaven on earth, guys. All right. So we cannot allow the darkness to take over. So important. So any bad habits, any, things that we do in excess, too much of anything is not good for you. Right. So temperance, keep it steady. Keep it steady here while we're feeling the pull in all these different directions, and take up whatever practice or whatever, hobby that might help you get to that place, whether it's breath work, whether you want to practice massage therapy or Reiki, or do, work with sound and do sound baths. I create a healing center. So, and, I help people detox, and I help people energetically clear. And I have all these devices that I also use with ancient plant medicines, and, and I love it. It's fascinating. I get to be my own mad scientist with helping other people out. And it just works. It, like, I just figure it out. And the more that I dive into that creativity, also Leo rules the fifth house of creativity, right? So exploring these different parts of yourself to pull out those different pieces of creativity is going to activate new gifts within us as well. All right. Just don't let it get to your head, because then it can also create egoic, like, oh yeah, I'm the man, I'm blah, 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 like, don't make it narcissistic. Now, when I say narcissistic, I mean service to self. So there's, when you're growing, when you're learning, right, when you're activating your heart, your ego is going to get bigger too, but you have to, make sure that the heart is the first, is the one that's stronger, the one that's in control. And allow yourself to have that, when you're feeling pulled this way or pulled that way, you lock it down, ground yourself, be like, all right, I'm going to let this move through me, and then I'm going to make, I'm going to feel my emotions, but I'm not going to let my emotions get me carried away. I'm going to guide my emotions through my heart. And that is passion. If you allow your emotions to get the better of you, that's chaos. That's like frustration, irritation, like being out of control, doing things that you're not fully thinking through, right? When your heart is guiding your emotions, then that's like that Kundalini energy that can just completely, boom, activate. I mean, we're getting fully activated in this lifetime, completely in our heart. And I believe that the huge activation is going to be when Saturn and Neptune come into Aries. That's when I think, like, you know, the people that are in our lives, we're going to be completely telepathic. We're going to be able to read each other's minds, and everything's just going to be like, you know, this is the truth. This is what it is. And this is great. And this is where we're meant to be. You know, the divine is guiding us all, right? So we have to allow the divine to guide us, but just make sure, especially with the nodes transiting right around this 0 degree point. That 0 degree point is going to be at 0 degrees. Let's see. From July 6th all the way to July 16th. So about 10 days. That is the void space. That is the birthing canal. That is where, like, what the hell is going on? Right. But not only that, Venus is in shadow, and that's the most intense part of the retrograde, in my opinion, at 27, 28 degrees. So then the nodes are going to go into 29 degrees. And that's another anti-rected degree, but now it's taking on a new energy. Now the north node is going to be a masculine energy, right? So we're just going to be like, "Rah!" And then the south node is going to be in a feminine energy, Venus. And Venus is retrograde. So there's going to be a lot of push and pull, a lot of relationship stuff, a lot of new opportunities, a lot of new challenges as we birth this next 20 year new karmic pattern in our life. So it's very, very, very important to set yourself up for success this summer and make decisions for your highest vibrational good, not for anybody else's, because anything and everything can change. All right, especially when Pluto finally comes back into Aquarius next year. Now, Pluto's going to be in Capricorn for the rest of this year. All right. So because of that, again, that's finishing up a 15-year cycle from Capricorn. And it's sitting at all those, you know, later degrees, and it's going to come back to where the United States has its Pluto return. So on so many levels, this summer, this retrograde season, this Venus retrograde is going to be the defining process of the next 20 years of our life. And you can see with all the crazy changes and stuff that's going on in the world, you want to make sure that you're making the right decisions. So make your decisions clear, concise, from your heart, and take it slow. Never make a permanent decision based on a temporary emotion, ever, especially this summer. Take it slow. Don't get caught up in your temptations. Don't get caught up in your attachments. You have to clear these attachments. If you don't, they're going to control your life for the rest of your life. And you don't want that. Okay? Because that's essentially you're refusing to open your heart, and you're going to live in fear, and you're going to be caught up in the darkness, that the spells that they're casting, and you're going to basically be living the rest of your life in hell. So let's not do that. Okay? That's how, like, I'm not trying to scare you. You know, this is just, it's a very important time to really be clear about the decisions that you're making. And they're going to be big decisions. They're going to be deep, important, fundamental, creative decisions. But as you make the decisions that open your heart, you're going to get more creative. You're going to feel good. You're going to feel blessed. You're going to feel like all the right things are coming in your life. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, because change is not easy, because, you know, human beings, like, you know, we have a difficult time with change, but that's okay. All right. So I hope that this helps. I hope this gives you a little bit of guidance as you traverse this summer. And if you'd like a reading from me, just go ahead and you can go to my Instagram, bio_wizard_, and I go to my Linktree, or you can just message me, comment down below. I have all my links down below as well. You can check all that out. But until the next time, I hope you all stay safe and have a wonderful and transformative Venus retrograde. All right. Blessings, guys. You got this.